Ethan had always enjoyed walking home late at night after his shifts. The streets were quiet, the air cool, and the neon signs buzzing faintly gave the city a strange but calming glow. That night was no different. He stuffed his hands into his jacket pockets, earbuds in, letting the rhythm of his playlist carry him down the dimly lit road. The only odd thing was a broken streetlight at the corner. It had been working just yesterday. Now it flickered weakly, like it was struggling to stay alive. As Ethan passed under it, the music in his earbuds cut out for a split second. A low crackle of static filled his ears before the song resumed. He frowned, tapping his phone. Battery full, no problem. That's when he noticed something. The neon sign of a closed diner ahead had changed. Instead of open 24 hours, it now glowed in sharp blood red letters. You're next. He froze, his brain scrambled for an explanation. Maybe some prank, maybe he was just tired. But no. The words pulsed brighter, as if written just for him. Ethan ripped his earbuds out, heart racing. He turned around, nothing but an empty street. His breathing quickened, and then he heard it. A low growl, deep and guttural, coming from the shadows behind the broken streetlight. At first he thought it was a dog, until he saw the outline. Tall, twisted, wrong. Two glowing red eyes blinked in the dark, locked onto him. The thing stepped forward. A silhouette of horns, shoulders hunched, claws dragging against the wall with a shrill screech. It leaned into the light and Ethan's chest tightened. The creature's mouth twisted into a grin that wasn't human. Then, in a voice that felt like it rattled inside his skull, it whispered, "Run, before I find you." Ethan staggered back, adrenaline surging, but every direction he looked, more neon signs buzzed to life around him, all glowing the same blood-red message. You're next. Ethan's breath came in short gasps. He stumbled backwards, eyes darting from one glowing sign to another. Every storefront, every billboard, even the busted payphone on the corner had transformed into the same chilling message. You're next. The words flickered like a heartbeat, syncing with the pounding in his chest. He tried to rationalize it. I'm hallucinating. I didn't sleep. Maybe I'm losing it. But the sharp metallic stench in the air told him otherwise. Coppery, thick, like blood. The shadow moved closer. Its claws scraped the pavement, leaving deep gouges in the asphalt. Each step made the flickering lights around Ethan grow dimmer, as if the creature was devouring the electricity itself. He ran, sprinting down the street, sneakers slapping the concrete. The night felt endless, stretching unnaturally long, as if the city had shifted into a maze designed to trap him. Storefronts repeated themselves. The same diner, the same flickering neon, the same broken streetlight. No matter where he turned, he ended up back at the same spot, and always, glowing in the darkness, you're next. Ethan's legs burned, lungs searing, but he couldn't stop. Not until he saw movement ahead. A person, a woman in a long coat standing under a working street lamp. Relief washed over him like a tide. Help! He screamed, sprinting toward her. But as she lifted her head, the light revealed her face, or what should have been her face. Instead, it was a hollow void with the same red neon letters burning where her eyes should have been. You're next. Her jaw unhinged, opening far too wide, and the same guttural growl poured out, the sound of the thing that was chasing him. Ethan stumbled backward from the faceless woman, his scream caught in his throat. The void where her eyes should have been pulsed brighter, burning into his vision like hot coals. He turned and ran again, but the streets no longer looked like streets. The sidewalks twisted into jagged black corridors, walls of concrete stretching upwards, closing in. The night sky above had vanished, replaced by a swirling haze of red light, pulsing with the same words over and over. You're next. You're next. You're next. Every surface around him bled with it. The letters dripped like liquid fire, searing themselves into his mind. Behind him, claws scraped again, louder, faster. The growl turned into laughter, deep, distorted, echoing in every direction at once. Ethan's legs shook, but his body kept moving, driven purely by terror. He slammed into a door, any door, and forced it open. Inside, he found himself in his own apartment. His couch, his desk, his bed, everything exactly as it should be, except for the mirror. On the wall, the mirror reflected not him, but it. The horned silhouette, crouched, claws twitching, red eyes locked onto his soul. And then, slowly, the reflection moved. not in sync with him, but on its own. The creature in the mirror raised its claw and pressed a long, bloody finger against the glass. With a sound like nails on a coffin lid, it wrote across the mirror from the inside, "You're next." The letters burned crimson, dripping down like fresh blood. Ethan staggered back from the mirror, his breath ragged. His apartment was silent. Too silent. Not even the hum of the refrigerator, not the ticking of the clock. Then, tap, tap, tap. The sound came from the mirror. The creature inside was tapping its claw against the glass in rhythm with Ethan's heartbeat. Each tap left a crack, spiderwebbing outward as if the mirror itself were ready to shatter open. Ethan grabbed a chair and hurled it. Smash! Glass exploded across the floor. For a moment, the reflection was gone. But when he blinked, the shards scattered around him all began to glow, each fragment reflecting the same pair of burning red eyes. And in every broken piece, a whisper rose together in unison. "You're next." The lights in the apartment went out. Complete black. Only the faint red glow from the shards illuminated the room. The walls began to close in again, melting into black stone. His apartment was gone, replaced by something that felt like a dungeon. Damp, suffocating, carved from the same darkness that carried the creature's growl. Somewhere in the dark, claws scraped. Not one set anymore. Dozens. Ethan clutched his head, screaming, "What do you want from me?" The answer came instantly, a chorus of distorted voices filling the air, shaking the ground. "You!" Ethan spun around wildly, shards of mirror crunching under his shoes. The whispers didn't stop. They grew, layered, multiplying into a cacophony that seemed to crawl under his skin. The glowing fragments on the floor began to tremble, sliding across the ground as if pulled by invisible strings. They gathered together, forming jagged shapes, distorted bodies, each with the same red eyes burning through the dark. Ethan stumbled back, heart hammering. There are more now. Too many. The figures twitched, spasmed, then began to crawl toward him on all fours, their claws scraping against the stone floor like nails on bone. Each one chanted in broken whispers, "You're next! You're next! You're next!" Ethan bolted for the door, but when he ripped it open, it didn't lead outside. It led to another hallway. Long. Endless. The walls lined with cracked mirrors, each reflecting a different version of himself. In some, he looked older. In others, he was bloodied. In a few, he was already lying lifeless on the ground. Every reflection turned its head toward him in perfect unison. And then, like a choir from hell, every single Ethan in the mirrors spoke with his own voice, twisted and overlapping. "We told you. You're next." The sound grew unbearable. His ears rang, blood rushing from his nose. The mirrored versions of himself began pounding on the glass, harder and harder, until cracks spread across the hallway. Ethan screamed and clutched his head, falling to his knees. The last thing he saw before the glass began to shatter was his own reflection, grinning. The hallway of mirrors exploded in a deafening crash. Shards rained down like knives, cutting into Ethan's skin as he shielded his face. When he dared to open his eyes, the mirrors were gone. He was standing in his bedroom. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. He stumbled forward, hands trembling, and picked it up. The screen was black except for one glowing notification. It wasn't a text, it wasn't a call, it was the same words, written across the display in pulsing red letters, "You're next." The phone slipped from his hand, and from the darkness behind him, claws wrapped slowly around his shoulder. Cut to black.